Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 188. I'm your host Rico, here with my co-host
Dane Cody.
Dane, Cody, and I get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and or whatever the hell we like. Welcome everybody. If you've never been here before, we usually start the show with some BS, as we are knee deep in at this very moment. Get into some what you've been playing.
Yourself.
Well, yeah, maybe not knee deep, just up to my ankles.
Oh, there you go.
Then we get into some what you've been playing, our news section, public service announcements, and our free for all. So, welcome everybody, episode 188.
188.
Take two.
Yes, we did attempt this last night, but the weather was being an asshole, and it was not helping our internet connection at all.
Something was going on.
Yeah.
Skype was not behaving. Discord was not behaving.
We had a weird intermittent issue that we would seem to drop enough packets between the two of us every so often that suddenly one or both of us would be asking the other person what the hell we just said. So here's hoping that we are able to record tonight without any issues, because we ain't doing it over. Exactly.
We're doing it live.
For the people.
Do it live.
That's what she said.
It's that clip, that news clip, that one guy going freaking out. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Let's do fucking live. Anyway.
Do everything live.
So yeah, seems so good. Good so far. Anyway, I don't have anything to report. We tried recording, we failed. So Dane, we just get right to it.
Yes.
What have you been playing, my friend?
I beat some Darksiders 3 last weekend.
Woohoo!
Yep. There was a game that I went from actively hating at the very beginning, and I was actually hate playing.
I'm amazed.
Dude, so am I.
From when we played it at PAX, I was like, Dane does not like this game.
Oh, I walked out of PAX and I was kind of choked. Actually, I was so disappointed.
You were really upset.
If somebody would have been like, "What is your biggest disappointment at PAX?" That would have easily been it. I was like, "Man, they fucking wrecked Darksiders." That was my thought. And then the game came out, and that's the same way that I felt. Day one, that game I played, and I was like, I think they fucking wrecked Darksiders. I think I even messaged that to you. I was like,
messaged me. You were not happy.
I was like, I think they fucking wrecked Darksiders.
But you stuck with it.
I did. I kept playing it because part of it was story. Part of it was
the really cool ass character design.
I mean, I do love the art design. Part of it was story. Part of it was to do with the fact that I think the parts that, like, it was one of those things where, like, I would enjoy myself, and then there would be a part that would be so goddamn frustrating, but it was only like a little part, and then it would go away, and then I would enjoy it again, and then there would be like one part that was so fucking frustrating, and then it would go away, and I would enjoy myself again. And then, of course, at the very beginning, the performance was fucking all over the place in a bad way.
Even with frame rate was
well, that's what I was saying. In the beginning, the frame rate was like super erratic all over the place. It was brutal. The patches definitely helped even it out. There was still a few areas where like the frame rate was dropping, and yet I was like looking at a wall, and I was like, why the fuck is the frame rate at doing like 50 frames a second when I'm staring at a wall, and when I turn around and look at all the open space and everything, I just jump up to like 100. Like, it didn't make any sense.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, so like I think just some weird optimization stuff in there. But honestly, that last patch that they did where they more or less enabled quote unquote classic mode for the combat
and more checkpoints,
both of those things helped a lot. It did. And I also feel like as the game went on, there was less of those moments where I was just fucking frustrated. Like I feel like the game flowed a lot better.
So maybe it's just some bad design choices at the start of the game?
There's some really bad design choices right near the beginning. Like the first
That's
10 minutes.
Unfortunate.
The first 10 minutes of that game are fucking terrible.
Yeah, we've been over it. The intro is not good.
No, like you fight 5 guys and then you fight a boss and then
you've barely come to grips with the controls, which are totally changed up from the rest of the franchise.
Yes, exactly.
Like, here, have a boss battle.
Exactly.
Good luck, assholes.
Now that I've beat the game, I understand why they did that. It makes more sense canonically and in the story, and like I won't get into spoilers, but I know why they did that now. That being said, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 other spots towards the end. There was one particular spot towards the end of the game where you had to use one of the freeze powers to freeze these blocks and then jump back and forth between them to get up to a ledge.
Mega Man 2.
And you had to do it right at the edge where the blocks were falling into a giant meat grinder.
Oh, sweet.
And so if you fucked up, you would end up in the meat grinder, which then meant you had spawned way back and then you had to run all the way back.
Good times.
And I mean, I probably did that spot 10 times and that one tried. That one was real trying. I was like, oh, this is getting real frustrating. And then, of course, just after that point, you unlock a little area so that if you die again, you don't have to go back there.
No.
Or through that again. So that was at least nice.
So did it wrap up good? Good conclusion?
You know what?
Satisfying?
So I didn't realize there's actually a couple different endings to that game. Depending on, there's half, about 3/4 of the way through the game, it's totally optional. There's a fight that you can or can't have. You can come across this character or you can totally bypass him if you want. And depending on how, there's a couple different choices. If you decide to fight him and kill him, then you get an item. And then as soon as that is over, you go back to this other, if you go back to another character, there's another thing that happens and you get choices. There's a choice that happens with the first demon, and then there's another choice that happens, and depending on those 2 choices really affect the end of the game, the end cutscene. So it was actually funny because there's 2 cutscenes at the end. There's a big one that you have after the final boss, and then there's another one post credit scene. And depending on the choices that you made during the game, it actually changes both of those cutscenes. So I actually it turns out I didn't even realize it, but it turns out I got the quote unquote good or secret ending.
Well, you're a pro gamer, so of course you're gonna get the good
I totally stumbled upon it, and I was like, "Oh, this guy seems like an asshole. I'm gonna fucking kill him." And then, afterwards, I remembered that near the beginning of the game, one of the characters had asked you to essentially kill that guy, and I was like, "Oh yeah, forgot about that." So I went back and talked to him, and yeah, no. So it was that was interesting. The story is really unique if you're into the previous 2 games because it kind of happens at the same time. So this whole game more or less is happening during the 100-year period where war is imprisoned. So the very first game starts off with the apocalypse happening, and you're war,
you're
the horseman, and you're fighting and things are happening, and then you get essentially in shit because you supposedly started the apocalypse when you weren't supposed to. And so the Char Council, as they say, is you gone fucked up. You started the apocalypse early. We're going to chain you up and you're going to have to think about what you did for 100 years. And then in the second game, when they decide to do that, you play as Death in the second game, and he's like, fuck you guys, and he gets all angry and he takes off. And he does his thing more or less at the same time that that he's more or less doing his thing at the same time that Fury is doing her thing. So they're all kind of happening. It's really interesting. So it's funny because Darksiders 1 it's like the very beginning of Darksiders 1 is the same time that both of these other two games are happening. But then when you actually play Darksiders 1, because you play Darksiders 1 after the 100 years is up, they're like, okay, your 100 years is up. You're going to like now try to redeem yourself or whatever. You're going to go like try to like roll back the shit that you've done previous, right? And so it's interesting because that first game technically happens after both of these games.
Oh,
and it's like it's all kind of a wild trip, and there's all these characters, and it sucks because now that I've beat this game, I have like real mixed feelings about it because like on one hand, I still kind of fucking hate it, but at the same time, I really kind of fucking liked it.
And you want to know what's going to happen, but
and I totally want there to make another game. Like I totally want them to make another game.
I guess
now.
It depends how well it sells. I haven't seen charts or if it's charted or anything.
But that's the thing is like at this point, like when that game first came out, I could not tell people like, yes, you should play that game because you should not have fucking played that game. But that being said, like I kind of really liked it now. Like it's very conflicted.
So
right, I'm very conflicted.
If you liked Darksiders 1 and 2 and you want to play a Darksiders game, maybe not as good as those two other ones, but not totally terrible, and it's in the bargain bin or Game Pass or PSN or something like that, maybe it's worth your time then?
I would say it's definitely worth your time then. Yeah, if like I will definitely say I don't think I would pick this game up at full price. Like obviously I will like, you know, I know we talked about when it first came out, it was given to me to like as a review copy, so it was provided to me by the publisher or the marketing company, I guess, but I definitely could not say like this is a full price game, like it's worth paying full price for,
unless you're a total huge Darksiders fan.
But again, after the updates that they have made, the
game's gotten better.
It's gotten a lot better.
That's
it went from being a 3 to like a 7.
Yeah. Like that's where I was saying. I said it was like a 7 when I was playing it, and I enjoyed what I played. Mm-hmm. But then it's just like I still haven't beaten Red Dead.
Yeah.
And I had all this other stuff that was amazing still on my plate, and it's kind of like, well, I kind of like broccoli, but you know, I got mashed potatoes and steak over there.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that over to the side right now.
And like, and I do, like I said, since they've made the updates, I think that going back to the classic combat, it opens like it opens the windows up a little bit. It allows you to, one of the big changes is that if you're in the middle of, you know, doing a swing, like doing a combo, and an enemy starts attacking you, you can dodge out of the middle of the combo. Like you don't get,
it doesn't punish you. You're not
exactly.
locked in.
Yeah, which like helps huge because there's definitely times where
when you're
attacking a character,
game,
totally,
it was pretty bad.
That the other thing I will say too is that like by the end of the game, I was level 48, I think, something like that, and like you feel a lot more like a badass.
Yeah.
Like the guys at the beginning that were taking like 4 or 5 hits to kill initially, I was like, you know, I would slash them and I'd kill them in 1. Like you know, like, so there's definitely like there's those areas that you are slowly moving through, almost like a dark, like a Souls game almost at the beginning.
Oh, where you were
like,
cautious
and later on,
and careful because everything was a threat.
Yeah, and even towards the end when I was, you know, a lot stronger and I could kind of like one hit them. If there was a big group of them there, you still had to be careful because like if you know got hit a bunch, like they take big chunks of your damage or your health down. Mm-hmm. That being said, though, it was a lot closer to a Darkside. It felt more like a Darksiders game once I got like kind of powered up a bit. So that was also helpful. So I think that they did do some really good things with the updates. I think they listened to fans. I was a little bit worried because, like, in all honesty, when we were getting our demo at PAX from, like, the head developer, and I kind of mentioned, like, man, I really don't like this combat. It feels, like, bad. And you know, and he kind of was, like, looking at me, like, very not like you could definitely tell he was like, well, what don't you like about it? Like, what's your problem? Like, he had a very kind of an attitude that I was like, oh boy, I don't know, like if it comes out and everybody hates on it, is he going to be willing to change it? You know what I mean? Like, and go like, oh man, maybe we did kind of fuck up. Maybe we were playing, like, building this game in a bubble, and now that people have got it, we realize, like, you know, we needed to change some things to kind of make it a little different or whatever, right? So I'm glad to see that isn't the case, and that they did kind of listen to people and they listened to reviewers, and obviously
I'm sure there'll still be more patches. That's
so,
good.
Yeah, no, I feel like, honestly, like, if you're a Darksiders fan, I feel like it's definitely worth playing through now. Now that they've patched it up and it feels a lot better.
I don't know if I'll be able to go back to it.
Yeah. As bad as this sounds, I will say that when I finished it and the credits finished rolling and I was sitting there, I was so close, like so close to just starting it up again and playing through it again. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, but I don't know, like, but that's what I mean. Like, the game is a weird game. Like, I like I said, actively hated, really enjoyed, like, full spectrum, man. Like, I don't even, yeah.
Well, if they get to make a fourth one, who's the fourth horseman? Is it Pestilence?
No, I mean, yes, but no. In the game, it's Strife.
Pestilence, yeah. Strife, same thing, isn't it? Similar,
kind of. I will say, there's a fucking cool moment. The way, the very, like, last moment of that, like, game, the last cutscene, fucking cool.
Yeah,
it has to do with some stuff, and again, I'm not going to spoil it. But it's cool.
Yeah.
It made me when I closed it after I didn't restart a game, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You got other shit you can play. Like, you need to get on to other things now. But I honestly, like, went into my Steam and I was like, I could play the other ones now. Like, if anything, it made me really want to go back and play the other ones again. So
I never beat the second one. I got pretty far, but I never beat it. I think I have it, like, the definitive remastered version of number 2. I think I have it.
Yeah, I have that on PS4, which sucks because I kind of want it on PC.
Because that was a PSN game, right? Is that why? I can't remember.
No, it came out on PS3.
I just know I have Darksiders 2 somewhere, and I didn't buy it.
Oh, I have sorry, you're right. It was
360.
Yeah, it was a game. It was like I want to say Games for Gold, but it was a PlayStation Plus game one month a while ago.
I don't know, but I feel like I have it on PS4.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice.
So yeah, so there you go. Like, that's full gamut in Darksiders 3.
I beat a game. I beat Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Nice. Ooh,
that game's awesome.
Do you know how long, roughly, your playtime for Astrobot was?
I don't know.
That was the other thing I will say. My playtime, my clock was at, like, a little over 18 hours for Darksiders 3. So I feel like it's shorter than the other two.
Yeah.
By a bunch. So.
I don't know. I don't think there's a timer or anything in it either.
Okay.
Trying to think how many sessions. I think I did it like 5 times 2. I think I did it like each world. I think I did each world in 2 sittings. There's like 5 worlds in Astrobot, and I think I did each world, which are like 5-6 stages, or 5 stages and a boss stage.
Yeah.
And I think I did them like in 2 sittings each. Maybe I did one in a sitting.
Yeah, I did the first one in, like, I beat the first world and the next, like, the first world and then the next level on the next world in one sitting.
Like an hour or so, probably.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to say it's probably about 10 hours.
Okay.
Maybe
that's
maybe
pretty
12
good.
hours. It's not the longest game.
No, I feel like in VR, you don't, like, I don't know, like, I don't mind that games are a little shorter in VR, because I feel like I find it harder for me to get into VR and stay in VR for a long period of time, because it's so, like, you've got the goggles, you've got the headphones, like, you're completely It's not like my wife can be like, "Oh, hey, Dane, what's this?" And you can be like, "Oh, what? Oh, yeah, don't worry about it." You know, like you're totally immersed in it. You know,
you're disconnected,
which is great, but it doesn't allow life to also happen with it. So you really have to have that time set aside. So I don't mind like playing in like, you know, an hour increment or whatever.
It is the worlds are just so polished and the gameplay is so tight. So it's just, I don't know, from top to bottom, that game is fantastic. The boss battles were awesome. The final boss battle was really cool.
Oh, nice.
It even has a neat like credits thing. Like the credits are like a game in themselves,
right?
And I didn't get everything.
You go back to the ship and you
you go
mess
to the
with
ship.
all that stuff.
You unlock stuff on your ship with the coins you collect from playing the game. In each stage, you're collecting the bots. There's 8 bots in each stage, and then there's a hidden chameleon, which is like a bonus stage.
Right.
I haven't done any of the bonus stages, so I think
neither have I actually. I've
that,
found chameleons in almost all the one. I think I'm missing one from the first world.
Yeah, they're like hidden as you're going through a stage. You can hear them. They make like a little pretty distinct sound, and then you just basically have to look at them. And then they get startled because you found them, and then they appear, and then you found them. But I want to say there's either 25 or 30
right
bonus stages. So I haven't done. Well, that's a lie. I did one of them. I did the minecart one because that was really cool. There's a really cool minecart level. I can't remember what world it's on. I want to say maybe the 3rd or 4th world.
Yeah.
But what a dope game. I will go back. I don't know if I'll get all the little robots. I got most of them. So I probably only have to do like, I don't know, 5, maybe 10 stages.
I was kind of amazed at it. Like, I thought I was being pretty thorough the first time I went through a few stages.
Some of them are tricky.
And I realized when I got to the end, I'm like, shit, I'm missing like 2 or 3 of these little bastards. Where the hell were they?
They
like,
are tricky.
Like, some of them are really good.
You can hear them, and that's the thing. It's like you got 3D. The 3D audio is pretty good, so you kind of get an idea where they are. And you look around, and sometimes it's like breaking down walls or going behind barriers or like really like manipulating the environment to find them. And then some of the later levels, like there's a graveyard level where you have like a flashlight as a weapon.
Right.
Like I think we mentioned it. It's not just you controlling Astrobot through the stages like a Mario 64 platformer. Sometimes he finds weapons in the world for you, which converts your DualShock 4 into a water cannon or like a grapple hook, or in some of the later levels the throwing star. You do throwing stars.
Yeah.
And
ninja. You're the master ninja.
And there's even a flashlight on, like, there's a graveyard level and the flashlight to attack ghosts and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, the throwing stars are kind of cool. On some of the levels, you use them to build, like, levels for him to jump on. So you, like, you swipe the touchpad and fling these throwing stars in the environment. And they stick into the wood.
And stuff?
Yeah, and he hops on them to get across big areas.
Oh, that's cool.
And then there's some switches you have to hit where there's bars, and you rotate the joystick to fling the throwing star,
nice.
vertically.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's what a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And
to think that was started off as like one of the little tiny
demos,
pretend game in the PlayStation Worlds, like, get disc or whatever, right? Like,
yeah, it was on one of the demo compilations of some sort.
Yeah,
it was awesome, and I ended up buying Moss, so I'll eventually get to that. So I got that on sale, which I'm pretty excited about.
That game is real good.
Yes, I hear it's good. I got a high five. My Quill, apparently.
Hell yeah, buddy.
That's his name, right? Little Mouse.
Yeah. Quill's great.
And. Well, everyone else knows what else I was playing, so we don't need to talk about that.
What else are you playing?
A little game called Destiny 2.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why I say I don't need to say it. Everyone knows I'm playing that.
I thought maybe you were playing something else. I mean, I played a little bit of Destiny 2.
I did play something else too.
I did make it to light level 540, so I can start actually do like nightfalls and stuff like that now. I
did a nightfall this morning.
So, well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Mm-hmm. Actually, before we talk about what you're going to talk about, just quickly, I also played some more Red Dead.
Oh, yeah.
So I made some more progress, and I'm still only in Chapter 3. been doing some side missions, some interesting side missions in the Rockstar way of doing weird characters and funny stuff. Actually,
Right.
quite comedic level is stages, missions, chain of missions is what I'm on right now. They're quite funny. That game's real freaking good. Jesus Christ. That game's amazing. Technical marvel. And it's just a fantastic storytelling game. Like, I don't know. I just love it. It's so good.
Fair enough.
I got to play more. I was I'm going to have all this time. And it's like, in like a couple weeks, like there's Resident Evil 2 and then Ace Combat 7 and then Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, it's going to get busy.
And then there's New Super Mario Brothers U, which will be out by the time you listen to this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'll pick that up again on Switch. I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like I've already bought that twice or whatever it is.
Did I mention that I got Octopath Traveler? I don't know if I mentioned that.
Did you just pick it up?
I bought it when it was on sale, the Switch New Year's sale. Maybe after we recorded, or maybe I don't know. I can't remember if I mentioned it.
Yeah, no, I don't think you.
Yeah, it was like
you had.
It was $50 or $55 Canadian, so it was like $30 off almost. Mm-hmm. And I had some eShop credits, so it was literally cost me much less than that.
That's cool.
So out of pocket, I think I was like $14 on that one.
That game would be so rad if it didn't have random encounters. I played the demo and there's so many aspects of that game. I'm like, yes. And then there's the whole random encounter. Just just doesn't feel like it appreciates my time.
So Dane,
yo,
you've got a game on here that the listeners are dying to hear about.
I went jousting on the weekend.
Nice.
With my penis.
With yours specifically?
Well, mine in the game. The game I'm talking about is Genital Jousting.
Oh, Jesus. This is not the game I thought it was.
Dude, I don't know if... This game is probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It is literally... So... I didn't realize somebody jokingly put this in Discord.
Oh my
God. said that we need to cover this game because, and I jokingly was like, look, if you buy it for me, I'll cover it. I will tell you all about it. Well, somebody took me up on it, and one of our listeners and good friends of the show, Brian, totally hooked me up. And so I on the weekend took a look at this game, and when I first looked at it, I rolled my eyes and went, "Oh dear God!" And I thought it was just like a multiplayer, ridiculous local multiplayer thing. And now, don't get me wrong, while it does have that, it also has the most outrageously redonkulous single player that I have ever seen in my life.
I'm looking at a trailer here. Like, it's got you go to work and shit, and you get,
oh yeah.
It's like, what?
So the character that you play in this game is literally a cock, balls, and an anus. That's it. That's the whole thing. So you're literally you're cruising along like a snake, I guess, and you can control it from either end. So you can hit one button on the controller and you control the head of the penis and that will go forward, or you can hit the same button and now suddenly you're controlling the a-hole. You're controlling the asshole of this thing. I'm going to tell you right now, this game, if you got kids and they're listening, you should probably stop the podcast because we're going to get into some pretty messed up shit. So fair warning right now for those of you who may or may not listen to this with your children. So I started playing the single player because I was just super curious. And you play a penis who with balls, and like, yes, it's a little bit of the same vibe as like a
clothes.
Yeah, you got to get out of bed and you cruise over and you put clothes on, which looks kind of like a half condom on the shaft, and you got to like go around your house and you got to try and like put dishes in the dish rack and mop the floor. And let me just tell you, by mopping the floor, you stick the mop handle in your ass, and then you use that to mop the floor. That's how that's your asshole is kind of like your hand in this game, so you can use it to grab things.
It's like, I don't know. I'm looking at this trailer. It's like an orange wang. Looks like he has foreskin. And you're like,
some of them have foreskin, some of them are circumcised,
and you like
all shapes and sizes,
like a trail of slime.
You're super slimy. It's kind of gross.
It's so like you're a dick lizard or something.
Yes, it's exactly what you are.
Eat things through your butt.
That's like I said. You eat things through your butt. Everyone, like if you ingest. So there's a point in the game where you go to a bar and you're drinking beer, which the bartender cracks a beer and slides it all across the table, and then you stick it in your butt and you drink the beer. And then when you get to a certain point, you have to pee, and all of a sudden you're just out the front of your penis just like you normally would. You're just pissing everywhere. It's just all over the place.
It looks like it's very like physics heavy as well.
It absolutely is. But like there's a narrator that's talking, and the story is just so outrageous. It's like about it's about a penis that is got a high school reunion coming up, and he's trying to find a date to take to the high school reunion, and you got to go to work, and guess what you do for work? You test dildos. So there's a big conveyor belt, and dildos come out, and you stick them in your butt, and they vibrate you all over the place. And there's a real big yellow one that comes out, and you stick it in your butt, and it starts vibrating you, and it gets out of control. It vibrates you through the walls, and you end up having to go to the doctor. This game is... I was laughing so hard that my wife came into my office and was like, what the fuck is going on in here? And I showed her, and she just stood there shaking her head. It is...
That's on Steam, right?
Yes, it is. And I know that people want me to like live stream this game, and like I swear I would get... I don't think I'd be able to live stream this game.
Can you live stream it?
I don't think... I swear I would get kicked off Twitch. Like, it is so ridiculous.
But it's just a video game.
The story is out there. At one point, you're traveling around the world, and you're sticking monuments up your butt and taking photos of yourself with the Eiffel Tower in your ass, and like this is the type of game it is. It's great. It's hilarious. It's like, if you get it, I would love to play you online. So that's the other thing, is there's a whole nother multiplayer aspect of this where you and 4 other people actually act like you can hit, and if you press and hold the one button, your penis acts like a spear and shoots across the screen. Like it, more or less like it shoots, like it's farting out of the asshole, and and it shoots forward, and you spear the other players, and good lord, it is hilarious.
I'm watching someone playing it on Twitch. He's not playing it live, but it's like a
previous play that he did.
It's like a VOD on Twitch, so
I wonder if it's not live because they got kicked off there.
I don't know. Anyway,
so it is by far and away the most insane thing I think I've ever played on any platform ever. I I'm still trying to convince my wife to try and do some local co-op.
You can do local.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, it's kind of physics based a little bit, like that whole I don't know, like job simulator or whatever, where you're trying to pick things
you're
up,
fighting
and you're making
the controls
a big mess
at the same time, trying to do stuff.
Especially because like the tip of your penis, things will like stick to it, and so like you're like you pick up dishes and then you try to like move them over to the dishwasher to put them in there, and then all of a sudden like you push too hard and the dishes. It's yeah. Yeah, like I said, and like yeah, and the dildo jokes, and oh man, and at one point you're trying to figure out you go to the bar to and you buy a girl a drink, and you hit a button and you just squirt money out the front of your penis. It's like you're just spraying.
Is the girl a penis?
You're just oh yeah, everybody's a penis. They're all penises. At one point they tell you like go talk to this girl and ask her out on a date, and so you go to the one
you
person,
slime over to her.
You slime over to the person at the table, and the narrator's like, that's not her. And then you slime over to somebody else, and the narrator's like, that's also not her. It's like, oh man, and the narrator's like super straight face the whole time, like just super like very. It's oh man, it is like I said, I don't know if I've ever laughed as hard as I did when I was playing that game. It is ridiculous.
That's funny.
Yeah. So look forward to hearing more about the penis jousting on the show.
Maybe if it goes on sale, I might pick it up.
It's it's like I said, I feel like it's worth having in your library just to pull out with the right people and play, because it's insane.
It looks
and
hilarious.
yeah, like I said, I don't know if I was playing and I was crying. I was laughing so hard at the point in near the beginning when I was at work and you were testing the dildo, and it suddenly just took hold of you and started like shaking you through the walls, and you're like on other people's desks and through their computer and like into the boss's room, and then you're in the bathroom and like you're smashing the urinals down. Like it was insane, and like oh man, yeah, it was. Like I said, it was pretty ridiculous. It was great.
So that dildo is a really good one, eh?
No, that didn't pass inspection. That was no good. No good.
That sounded like a good time to me.
And then you actually have to go to the first aid. You have to find a Band-Aid to put on your asshole because it like ripped it. Like I said, it's
Jesus
you're bleeding
Christ.
out of the asshole. Oh yeah.
This is a family show. Come on. Now
I gave fair warning at the beginning of this show.
I think I'm going to tag this episode as explicit.
Like I said, it was quite the game.
Nice.
Quite the game. So yeah, Genital Jousting. Check it out on Steam. It's great. You'll cry laughing.
Nice.
Or you'll be super offended. Either way.
Yeah. One or the other.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's all I've been playing.
And that's all I've been playing. So I guess, Dane, now that we're done talking about wieners, I think we can get into the news and stuff. The news. Resident Evil 2 Remake has a demo that is coming out. This story via Eurogamer, but you may have seen it at pretty much every freaking website on the internet, because that's kind of how internet gaming news works.
But we're reading the one from Eurogamer.
Yeah, just because, I don't know, Eurogamer comes up a lot in our show notes because it just comes up first in my RSS feed when I'm grabbing stories.
So it's going to last for 30 minutes. So it's going to give you, it goes live tomorrow, which is going to be Friday. So when this is live, it will be live.
PC, Steam,
PlayStation 4,
and Xbox One. So it's got a 30-minute timer. You've got a half-hour playtime before the demo ends. And once your 30 minutes is up, that's it. No starting again for another 30-minute shot to see if you can get farther. It's one and done.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of like Genital Jousting.
So it's a 30-minute one-shot demo. Yeah.
And
kind of interesting.
If you beat it, there's like a new trailer that unlocks or something.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, you can continue if you die, or if you complete the mission objective, but you can't turn back the clock, and you won't be getting back the time you lost. So use what time you have wisely.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when I played it at E3, it was like a 20-minute demo or something.
Yeah.
I got to the end of their demo or whatever. There was still time left, but...
I mean, if you were really worried and you really wanted to play it, you could play it on your PC, then play it on your Xbox One, and then play it on your PS4.
That's definitely doable.
So
that's cool. That game's awesome. When I played it at E3, I was quite impressed. So if you're on the fence...
very interested.
Yeah, if you're on the fence, check it out. It's I liked what I played, and Resident Evil 2 is one of the best Resident Evils, next to obviously 4 probably being the best, but...
Yeah. January 25th is when the full game actually comes out.
Jesus Christ.
Soon.
So Final Fantasy X, 10-2 HD Remaster, and Final Fantasy 12 finally have Nintendo Switch and Xbox One release dates.
Wow.
I believe these are already out on PS4. Is that right?
I want to say PS4 and Steam as well.
Yeah.
Because I know I almost bought Final Fantasy 12 on PC the other day.
Yeah, because
when it was on sale.
The 10 and 10.2 remaster launched on PS3 and Vita, apparently. I don't remember that.
Mm-hmm. May 2015 for PS4.
And then a PC version. So now it's coming to Steam and Xbox. And where are the dates here? Did I go right past them? April 16th for Final Fantasy X and 10-2, and then Final Fantasy 12 comes April 30th. I liked Final Fantasy 12. A lot of people didn't, but I did.
I like 12. I wish they would do an HD remake of 9 though. That's my hope. That's my hope.
We're asking for that. I beat 10 and liked it. I didn't beat 10-2. I think I started it, and that was like the pop star, like dresses, like girly Final Fantasy. I was like, kind of like, I don't know, this ain't for me.
I didn't like 10. I played probably half of 10, and it was probably the first Final Fantasy game. It might have been the first Final Fantasy game that came out over here that I hadn't like played all the way through at that point. I loved 8, loved 9.
Yeah,
and
they just
10 came out.
Started going down. I don't know from there. So CES is going on right now. So we've got Bluetooth freaking toilets and
toasters, man.
Toasters. And
we got like there's Alexa in your toaster now. You got Google happening in your fucking microwaves. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I wish I was kidding. All that shit is actually happening, but I'm not going to talk about it on this show.
But what we are going to talk about is HP unveiled the Emperium 65-inch gaming monitor with soundbar. This is the BFGD. That was the Nvidia big format gaming display. This is the one that I played at E3. I didn't know what brand it was, but when I looked at the photos and I look at the legs of this TV, this is the set that I played at the Nvidia booth or Nvidia.
Right.
Anyway, meeting rooms or whatever.
$5,000
American. Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
Well, and I even said it was going to be. I said when we had the E3 episodes and I talked about the monitor, I'm like, this thing is going to be expensive because we're talking like high refresh rate, G-Sync, built-in shield. There was no doubt. We knew it was going to be expensive, but Jesus Christ.
That's it's a 4K monitor, 120 to 144 hertz refresh rate, Visa certified as a display HDR 1000, so it can do proper HDR, at least theoretically. It's got, like you said, full G-Sync, offers a 4 ms response time, which is gray to gray. It's got a low frequency array with some speakers, DisplayPort 1.3, 3 HDMI 2.0 ports, and it all really doesn't matter because it's $5,000 fucking dollars.
American.
Like, that's insane.
6,600 Canadian.
That's insane.
It was really nice. If you got a lot of freaking money,
I still wouldn't buy that.
yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I buy yeah, I guess that's my thing at that point is like, why would you buy that over like an OLED or like a proper C9 and stuff like that?
It's the latency.
I guess, but I don't know.
Because this is going to be this feels like a computer monitor, not a TV.
Except that it's 65 inches, so you're going to be sitting on it like you're going to be looking at it, and you're going to be using it like it's a TV, not a computer monitor.
Yeah, I liked it. Man, if I had disposable income like ridiculous, I could see it's too expensive. If this was like $3,000, then it would be more like I'd consider. But it is a 65 inch. 60, like that's huge.
Sure,
the screens get quite expensive once you get past the 55 inch. They get a lot more expensive. And you do get a soundbar too, so that's a few extra $100 and a shield.
Yeah,
shield TV. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I think it's gonna be, I don't know. Even if I had the money, I don't know. Like I feel like even if I had the disposable income, I don't know why I would buy this over like a really awesome TV. I don't know, but yeah, it's out. There you go. It's happening.
So there's some other gaming, mainly PC gaming centric news. Sony had some announcements. We'll talk about that when we get to the Sony section.
Mm-hmm.
But AMD announced a new Radeon 7 gaming GPU, which takes aim at 2080. Is that it?
Yeah, it looks to have roughly the same. I mean, we'll see. It comes out in February, so it's going to be, what did they say, February 7th? So it's going to be released February 7th. They're saying that it's going to be roughly about as fast as a 2080. It's also going to be priced similar to the base 2080. So the 2080 starts at $699 American and goes up to $799 American. So this is going to start at $699. They've announced it. I don't know. I could go into all kinds of nitty-gritty details.
No, don't.
But I know that Rick and some of our listeners aren't nearly as nerdy about that kind of shit as I am. I will just say that this looks like the Vega 20 professional grade card, that they've made a few modifications and on the back end of it to kind of make it really fast. But it's looking pretty sweet so far from the demos and things that they have shown. It looks like it's pretty impressive. One thing I will say is it's going to have 16 gigs of RAM, and it's going to be using the high bandwidth 2 HBM2 memory, like the current Vega cards, with 1 terabyte per second of memory bandwidth, which is insane. So I will say that's pretty rad.
And it comes the pretty crazy gaming bundle too. Like,
yeah, it's got the same gaming bundle that I got with mine. So if you pick one up, you're going to get Devil May Cry 5, The Division 2, as well as Resident Evil 2 Remake, all with it. So that's pretty cool. So get those 3 games also with it. So that's pretty huge. I appreciate, because they're at least bringing some sort of competition to Nvidia. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like the CEO of Nvidia today, like there was a bunch of press conferences, and he was pretty much coming out and being all like, "Oh, this thing's super underwhelming, and I don't know what they're doing over there." Blah blah blah, and like, you know, he's trying to say that it doesn't have ray tracing units on it, and it doesn't have AI units, and then this and that. And the CEO of AMD kind of, you know, when asked about like, "Oh, what do you think about what he said about this?" she pretty much was like, "Well, you know, right now we don't necessarily feel that it's super needed. She didn't go as far as to be like, there's one game on the market that supports ray tracing, and there's 2 games on the market that support ray tracing currently, and there's one game on the market that supports the DLSS, which is the deep learning super sampling.
Definitely a bleeding edge technologies that, obviously they make a difference, but
for sure. But ultimately, I think and the way that I'm looking at it, and I'm kind of curious, and I think it's great that Nvidia is pushing that stuff forward. I think it's really important that they are. But at the same time, I also kind of look at AMD and they're thinking okay, by the time, because they've sort of, she very carefully mentioned something along the lines of we're working on our ray tracing, card of our own. But I think from AMD's perspective, it's so early at this point that by the time they release theirs, the market will probably be at least in a better place where that stuff's actually useful.
Maybe it'll be in more games. The next generation of consoles
will support
right?
it.
Maybe that'll be that's going to be the big deciding factor, right?
That's
consoles
right?
got HDR first. PCs have always had HDR, but monitors didn't have it. It was more of a TV thing. So consoles kind of pushed that.
Actually,
I'm sure there was monitors with
TVs
HDR.
and consoles have had HDR for a lot longer than the PC has.
Yeah,
it didn't get patched into even Windows 10 didn't have HDR. I don't think till 1709 update in Windows 10.
Nvidia cards could do it for a long time.
They could in theory do it, but I just mean like the operating system and everything else wasn't even supporting it, so it wasn't.
And the monitors were really only available this year. Maybe late 2018, maybe late 2017 for some bleeding edge monitor. I didn't see any, but
yeah, we're starting to see
now you're buying monitors
finally coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, obviously when ray tracing comes to consoles, that's when it'll blow up on PC. If the PS5 and the next Xbox have ray tracing, then better believe it'll really blow up, because then it'll be in every game, not just niche tech demos hey, look, we've got ray tracing because we're cool.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
That's good.
I think at least it's keeping it's them saying hey, we're trying to stay competitive. We're at least offering an alternative to Nvidia.
I guess they didn't want to undercut Nvidia because they didn't want to make it feel like it's not as good a product. That's probably why they priced it the same. At the same time, I would have liked to have seen it be less.
They can't. You know why they had to price it the way they did? It's because the HBM2 memory controller, my friend,
it's very expensive.
Insanely expensive. Just for comparison, you have to when they buy it, you have to buy the memory and the controller. It's all one unit. So the way that they purchase it, from the people that make it,
so it's more expensive.
It's all a unit. It's a whole singular thing.
It's not just a stick of RAM.
No. And that cost for I know on the Vega 64 card, the one that I have, that part is about $150 their cost.
Oh, Jesus.
For comparison, DDR5, the GDDR5 RAM that's in a lot of the other cards, the 10s, the 1050s and the 1080s and those cards, that costs about $12.
Wow.
So so 16 gigs of HBM2 memory and the controller and everything, that's why that's $699.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but hey, at least they're like I said, at least they're bringing competition, and I like it. It's good. Bring it to them. Love seeing that.
More CES news. Swinging back over to Nvidia's camp. I won't spend too much time on this, but Nvidia announced a bunch of new G-Sync monitors, and that FreeSync is coming to the Nvidia cards, and then that they were actually as part of that, they were creating a new standard called G-Sync compatible monitors. They're not G-Sync monitor. I have a G-Sync monitor, so there's an extra premium for a G-Sync monitor because it has extra hardware in it that ensures that smooth G-Sync experience of the frames and from the video card and the monitor being synced and, you know, talking to each other and ensuring that buttery smooth frame rate or display timing for the frame rate and the hertz and refresh rate that G-Sync is known for. So they've basically opened it.
That's literally why it is. So it's their variable refresh.
Yeah, it's
standard.
their own. So they've opened it up where these G-Sync compatible.
They haven't opened it up at all.
Well, they haven't opened up G-Sync.
This is them supporting certain FreeSync monitors.
Yeah,
and that's what this is. So they're saying that we're enabling a software standard that's going to be, like you said, called G-Sync compatible. And what they're doing is they're testing monitors, and in this case, they're testing FreeSync monitors, because here's the thing. G-Sync closed standard, you pay Nvidia shitloads of money, you buy their chips, and you put it in your monitor, and they say it has to do this, etc.
FreeSync.
So, like, on one hand, rad, because you know that every G-Sync monitor has a certain standard.
Certified.
It always is going to work, blah, blah, blah.
But you pay for
FreeSync, exactly. It's like, on average, about a $200 premium for a G-Sync monitor over a non-G-Sync version of the exact same monitor.
And FreeSync is AMD's better version of adaptive sync, right? But it's open source or open.
What happened was AMD started FreeSync. Then what they did is they said, wait a second, we're going to actually give this away as an open standard. So they opened it up and they allowed it to become an open standard. So then Visa, which is the viewing, they're the ones that make standards for monitors and for computer stuff to make sure that if these monitors are, guaranteed to work with say HDR, for example, Visa has certain standards, and your monitor has to hit this, and this in order to
claim these
to become Visa certified. Totally. So they actually handed it over to all of those bodies. So FreeSync is essentially is what AMD has now named their variable refresh rate technology. And so this announcement from Nvidia is them saying that they're going around, they're enabling G-Sync, they're enabling adaptive refresh rate on Nvidia cards for monitors that aren't necessarily G-Sync monitors. Mm-hmm. They're saying certain monitors are built to a high enough standard that it will work with what we consider G-Sync, or that's close enough to what we consider G-Sync. And so we're going to allow for a software version of that, and those monitors won't need to have our proprietary G-Sync chip on them, so on and so forth.
Which is pretty cool in my opinion.
So they're saying that they've tested so far 400 monitors, and out of the 400 that they've tested, there's 12. And I'm sure that there's probably some money that's been involved there as well, if I had to guess, because I'm sure that they weren't testing 400 monitors for free. So anyways, there's 12 monitors from Asus, Acer, a variety of manufacturers currently that they're going to be called, like you said, G-Sync compatible. They're not going to have quite all the bells and whistles and doohickeys of G-Sync,
but you're also going to save $200 or more.
Totally, and also
you get a similar experience.
That's exactly it. And also, it's I think it's really good because it that as a standard, FreeSync as a standard, the Visa adaptive refresh, variable refresh rate
should be open. It's kind of, I hate the G-Sync text. But
exactly.
The problem is though, G-Sync is amazing, and I don't think I could ever not own a G-Sync monitor going forward. But now, actually, theoretically, I can.
Right,
and I think that might have to do with them getting a lot of backlash and. People were not too happy. People love G-Sync, but at the same time, people are like, I love G-Sync, but you know what? It's kind of crummy that you don't fucking support the open standard, because why can't you? You easily should be able to.
Yeah.
There's no reason that they can't, right?
And the thing is that when they're doing the certification for this, they're at least saying like, look, it's, it may not work as well as G-Sync does, but at least you will be able to use variable refresh on these monitors. That's the thing with like an open standard is like, when you do look at the specs, the range is much, much higher than G-Sync. Like, for example, on a FreeSync monitor, some of them have a very narrow window that they will allow the variable refresh to happen, right? Like if the frames drop between 44 frames and 100 frames, it will totally be able to deal with it. But if your frames go up to 100 plus 120 or 30 or whatever,
or too low,
it won't be able to keep exactly. Or if it drops down to 30, it's not going to be able to, it might have an issue. So like things like that, right? So there are some challenges there. That being said, like FreeSync 2 has come out. That also includes like HDR and a variety of other things to help build the standard out. And apparently, from what I understand, it's a lot better. I think this is a really great thing.
Yeah, I think it's because
it just means
cool.
Like, it opens up the amount of monitors that you can buy, and it also means, like say down the road, like I've purchased a sick monitor and I paid $1,200 for my monitor, but like, maybe I had at the time, like right now, I've got a Vega card and it works great with it. So down the road, say, the next card I buy is an Nvidia card. Now my monitor is at least able to use some of that variable refresh.
You don't want to lose that cool functionality because
exactly
that G-Sync technology, that adaptive FreeSync, those technologies make a huge difference.
Totally.
They're pretty awesome. Like when you have a monitor with that, like I said, I don't think I could ever go back. It would be very difficult. So cool news.
Yeah, super cool.
Speaking of PC,
I'll touch on it quickly before we jump off of kind of the CES stuff. I know we kind of didn't have it on our... AMD also announced their AMD Ryzen 3000 series. Not too many details on the processor yet, other than it's looking real fast. They showed a benchmark where it... an 8-core, 16-thread Ryzen 3000 series went up against the new i9 9900K processor from Nvidia, and they were, for all intents and purposes, like neck and neck. The AMD processor was slightly faster, but the big difference in that particular case was that the AMD card, or the AMD processor, was almost half the power being used as the Intel processor, which is huge, and they've said that like this is on test.
That i9's a pig, isn't it?
It's not too bad. It's not as much of a pig as my Threadripper. Let me tell you.
But
that
it's
right
expensive as all hell, right?
It is. It is very pricey.
Is that an AMD one? Did they talk about price?
They haven't talked about price. They're still saying like this isn't going to be coming out probably till second quarter, so we're probably going to be hearing a lot more about it probably around April, May.
But they do have an answer for the 99.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's nice seeing AMD and Nvidia at neck and neck at each other's throats.
It's exciting because it's a 7 nanometer, so it means it's going to be using less power. It has the opportunity. They showed off the die, and there's a really good chance that we're probably going to be seeing a 12 and possibly 16 core consumer grade processor from them, which is crazy. Like when you think about it, like 2 years ago, if you were, Intel was offering a 6-core processor with 12 threads, and that was considered like, wow, and now AMD is going to be offering, right now they offer 8-core, 16 threads, and that's $150 cheaper than the i9 that Intel's offering, and they're very similar performance-wise. Like, so to see them pushing the cores ahead as well for the type of power and the efficiency that they're showing is really cool. So it's exciting. It's really cool. It's really really cool stuff coming out of both of those guys.
It makes me excited for my next PC build. Is going to be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are we? I lost the line. Speaking of PC, the Division 2 won't be on Steam. It's coming to the Epic Game Store. good.
It will also be showing up on the Ubisoft
Well,
store
that's
as well.
the thing. It's going to be on the Epic Game Store, but it's going to kick you over to Uplay just like anything. Any Ubisoft game on Steam kicks you over to Uplay. Like, so it's, I don't know. I saw the tweet on Twitter, and then I looked at the replies, people. Not on Steam, not buying your game. Bad move, Ubisoft. Oh, I hate you guys. Like, the negativity in the comments was unbelievable. It's like, it's not on Steam. You're playing it through Uplay anyway, even if it was on Steam. Like, and I don't know. Everyone's like, you're just doing this for that Fortnite money. I'm like, what?
No, they're doing it because they get
more money.
12% handed over to Epic instead of 30% given to Steam.
And the amount of eyeballs of like people in the Fortnite or Epic store probably might be even more than Steam right now. So there's that possibility too. It's not. I'm not going to.
No, because we don't get to see the Steam numbers for China. Steam's still real big.
Yeah, but the amount
as a platform is real big.
Fortnite players, Jesus.
Oh, I know.
But anyway, I
hear what you're saying, and I'm
so upset.
I know some people that are like that though. I was like, "Oh, you're gonna play Battlefield or whatever?" You know, this was obviously a few years ago now, and they were like, "No way, man! They left Steam. I'm not playing anything that's if I can't get it on Steam, I'm not buying it." And it's like, okay, like I guess if that's your prerogative, you can do that, but like only having one store like that's a monopoly is kind of a bad thing.
I just think it's funny how negative everyone's reactions are. Like, no, not my Steam. And it's like, y'all hated Steam when Steam came out. You're all like, fuck, I don't want a launcher. I want my games in my folders, and I want to launch them my way. I don't want your DRM and being in my PC and running all the time. Steam is terrible. I hate Steam. And now everyone's like, give me my Steam. I love Steam.
Yeah.
People have
pretty much
such short memories.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. I think it's good on Ubisoft. They want to make more money, that's fine.
I think what's cool is that Ubisoft is like EA, they went and obviously went straight to their store. Like they're only offering things on their store, and obviously Epic, they're going to be only offering things on their Epic store, and Bethesda seems like they're almost moving that way as well. And one thing that I do appreciate about Ubisoft is that instead of saying like, no, we're only going to offer things on the Uplay store, that's it, because they already have their own fucking store. They could do that. They could totally do that.
They could not even have it on Epic.
I think it's really cool that they're saying like, no, we're going to try and at least put games on third-party platforms still, that if that's where people want to buy them, then like, we'll take a small, like a cut that, from our profits or whatever, but we'll at least offer it there. Like, I think that's smart, and I appreciate that, and I like that they're one of the biggest publishers that's still doing that. Like obviously we're seeing Blizzard and Activision, same thing, right? Like we're seeing more and more Destiny's on the Blizzard launcher, and the Call of Duty's on the Blizzard launcher, like the Battle.net launcher, I guess. Sorry, like it's so that I very much appreciate.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny that people were like all bent out of shape. It's like, well, whatever.
That stuff doesn't.
Speaking of
surprise
Division
me at all.
2, the recommended PC specs were announced as well. I don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole, but there'll be a link in the show notes if you want to see all that. Don't worry.
I'm good.
I was going to say, don't worry. Me and Dane are all
now.
good.
Yeah.
I wasn't
The only
too worried.
one-
When I played it at E3, I'm like, this looks like the first game, so I'm pretty sure my rig is not going to get pushed at all.
Yeah.
Catherine is now on PC. Why is this news? Because this is an Atlas game, and it was kind of like a surprise release. And it even supports 4K, apparently.
Interesting.
Did you ever play Catherine?
No, I didn't.
It's like a weird
It's a
puzzle
weird
game.
Puzzle
Yeah,
game, kind of.
I think I tried.
Mixed with, like, it's like puzzles, but it's mixed with kind of a dating sim thing, too. Like, it's, So there's, like, puzzle levels where you're almost like a weird dream sequence where you're trying to climb, like, a tower.
Yeah, I did not know how to play it.
And then there's other, like, when you're not doing that, there's like kind of this like weird sort of dating sim aspect of it where you're like these characters.
It's got like a cult following.
Yeah.
It also has, they even do speed runs on it apparently.
Yeah.
Man.
Which, by the way, Games Done Quick is currently happening right now.
Nice. So that brings us to This Week in Destiny, your podcast in a podcast all about Destiny. Pew, 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 shoot aliens in the face.
I like doing that. That part of that game is fun.
You may or may not know that Bungie dropped a little more content in that ongoing Black Armory season in Destiny.
Content pack.
Yeah, so this new approach to content, like not your traditional campaign story levels and one and done, you're burn through it in a couple hours and you're like, man, that sucked, Destiny, you are Bungie, we hate you, that was so short, your DLC's terrible. So they've been unrolling this content weekly with the forges and basically the Black Armory storyline, these grindy missions and forges and yada yada. Anyway, people were excited for something called Nairobi Labs to open up, and the fourth and final forge. Except for that didn't go all so smoothly as planned. Destiny or Bungie planned.
It seemed, holy shit! This looks insane.
They planned a whole event, like there was a puzzle to open up the door to the final forge in the Niobe Labs, and it was a combination of combat trials and like these hidden glyphs in a room, solving riddles and puzzles,
performing tricks,
and the big problem is that a bunch of top streamers, like the only people who could do this are full-time fucking streamers. Normal gamers couldn't do it. There was groups out there playing this for 20 hours plus, and they still hadn't figured out the puzzles. We don't even know how many stages to the puzzle there were. The problem is a lot of people were complaining. It's like, well, there's this new content that I paid for, and I can't do it until like
at least somebody in the world opens it
until a very
I think it's kind of
I think that's cool.
Like obviously not
cool.
Everybody has to do this because
cool.
Like that's insane.
But this is the backlash. It's like, well, yes, I'm a paying customer. I should have access to my game. And then there's the whole other side. It's like, no, this is cool. Like they have to earn this. And then a group's going to do this, and they're going to get a reward, and then everyone gets it. I think that's cool. I think the problem in the execution is either their hints weren't very good, or, well, it's not their hints. The problem is people had to refer out of the game to figure out these puzzles. The information was not in the game readily available to work on these puzzles. So I think that's where the difficulty was through the roof. And also, like, after each wave of figuring out the next puzzle to move on to each next wave of the opening the tiers of this puzzle, there's no checkpoint. So when they got to they were banging their heads at step 7, and then they had to wipe
the level 7
and then
of the puzzle,
start over all the way at the start, get back to 7, and try a different iteration of the puzzle. So there was no checkpoint, so you couldn't just wipe and start from that wave. You had to go all the way to the start. So. Yeah, anyway, the community was... If you went to the Reddit, it was like dumpster on fire. Like, people, like, angry.
I mean, I just assume that that's what the Destiny Reddit is like all the time.
You know what? Pretty much every other day it is pretty much that. But
anytime they announce anything, oh, this is bullshit, I can't believe they're going to do that.
But this was a dumpster fire on fire in a dumpster fire in a dumpster fire on a dump truck rolling down a hill on fire
towards the dump, which is
also on fire. Yeah, it was. I wish it worked a little better. They were trying something new, so like I don't blame them for trying something cool, and I'm kind of choked that they caved and they opened it up to everyone. Honestly, I would have really liked to see how long it would have taken and how big it is. As of this recording, I haven't looked up to see if anyone has solved it yet. I don't know. Apparently, if you do solve the challenge of opening the lab, there's
still something cool will happen.
You'll get a ghost and a sparrow as a reward, like as a sign that you did it. Obviously after one group figures it out, it'll be one of these events you could try with your clan or your buddies.
Right.
And anyway, so the next day they opened up the fourth forge for everyone just at 2 p.m. We're just like, you know what, we tried, but we're hearing your feedback. And yeah, there was a lot of negative feedback. I'm in between. I wish it. I know what they were going for. I just wish it executed better. Maybe if they try this again next time, that all the information to solve something like this is in the game. You're not going down the rabbit hole of like websites and books and stuff out of the game world. Like put this lore in these books in the freaking game.
Yeah,
simple solution. Maybe it
can be done really cool. The Secret World did a really cool thing where but they also built a web browser literally into the game, so you could hit the button and pull it up to dive into some of that really obscure puzzle stuff, right?
So I have done the new forge, and I'm working on unlocking the big crazy new sniper rifle. So
look at you.
Yeah, still playing way too much Destiny. And then this last tidbit of death this week in Destiny. Pew, 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 shoot aliens in the face. Bungie announces it's split from Activision. This is actually breaking news.
This was happening just earlier today. That was pretty wild, actually.
Yeah, Bungie announced a split from Activision will assume full rights and responsibilities for Destiny franchise and full publishing rights and responsibilities for the Destiny franchise.
Bungie is going to own and develop the franchise, and Activision will increase its focus on owned IP and other projects. How does this
This makes me really excited because, to be honest, I feel like a lot of the grimy transactiony grindy bullshit crap. I think some of the influence may have come from Activision's tendrils, to be honest, because a lot of that, I don't know, it's always been Activision from the get-go, but just the last few iterations and mistakes when it comes to cosmetics and that kind of microtransaction stuff has just kind of gotten a little worse.
The one thing I will say that does worry me a little bit is that I don't always think that having Activision looking over the shoulder when it comes to certain things was good, because obviously they're saying oh, we got to cut that or we need to make more money or whatever, but they also, I think, were probably very key in keeping Bungie kind of on track at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like now that Bungie's not gonna kind of have anybody looking over everything, kind of going hey, how are we coming? Is it you know what I mean? And not to say that Bungie's bad about things just wallowing in development hell or anything for a long time, but I could just see that being one downside to kind of losing, just not having that kind of push that's constantly sort of look, maybe that's not a great thing, maybe we should, which on some ways maybe isn't bad either, right? To no longer have that, for example, maybe there was a lot of stories that we heard about the original Destiny, and it was supposed to have the Taken King and all that content was kind of supposed to be in the game initially, but Activision or whatever, they didn't want to push the game another year and a bit in order to wait for all that, so they decided to launch the way that they did, right? So on one hand, I look at that and I go well, we would have had to wait another year for the original Destiny, but it would have maybe been a more full game, or we got the game that we got and got to play it for a year and then got more, you know what I mean? I don't know if either one of those is a better option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think at launch I was oh man, I would have maybe waited for another year to have everything, but at the same time, I got to play Destiny for a year and enjoy the shit out of it, and then I got another big dump a year later, so it's that also might not be bad either. I'm not sure if I have necessarily a preference.
But there's I don't know. there's just so much content in the game. So
Yeah.
I was running with one of my clanmates last night, and we were just talking. He was telling me about like certain weapons and triumphs and titles that are available in the game. And it's like just this whole other level of stuff, like rewards that are just is not immediately obvious to you. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, there's still so much shit to do. I'm like, I feel like I've done everything. I was like, no, I've barely scratched the surface.
Oh, dude, if you're
I could poop sock so much more worse.
If you want to just grind Destiny for days and days, you can still totally do that.
I still am doing that. That's my problem. I might actually be raiding soon. He was telling me about the raid schedule. Tuesdays.
I'm amazed you haven't.
I'm amazed that I think you know what the problem is,
because like I feel like you would go into a raid with a whole team of people that have already probably done it, and you're way high level enough at this point to do it.
Oh yeah, no, I've got the gear.
I feel like I've
got all the weapons.
They would more or less just like kind of be like, hey, you go stand over it. Like they would kind of walk you through it, and instead of taking 12 hours, it would take you guys like what 2 hours, maybe 2-3 hours.
That's what I was talking. I think my stumbling block with doing the new, like I did all the old raids in Destiny 1. I think my stumbling block with Destiny 2 is like I have a kid now, and I feel like well, I don't have
block out 3 hours.
I don't have 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and it's like that's not necessarily true because on the weekends I do have big chunks of time. Like so on a Saturday night I could do a raid. I just have to decide to do it instead of thinking that I can't do it because I've done all the other raids. And yeah, at this point everyone has the mechanics down. It's not like I don't know. It's basically stand there, shoot that guy. Okay, now come over here. Like there's always someone calling out the raids, right? So you follow directions and you win.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, I think everyone's had enough of Destiny 2 talk.
Yeah, God, I'm so tired of hearing about your Destiny 2 shit.
Remember Fallout 76?
Wait, was there a Fallout game that came out last year?
No, it was like some buggy trash dumpster fire. Man, that's a theme today. Anyway,
what's with you and dumpster fires?
If you bought Fallout 76 or Plate, I think if you bought it, it's available. The Fallout Classic Collection is available now. I think that's just for the PC people. Maybe it's for the consoles. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm talking about Fallout 76.
To Xbox One and PS4 players too.
Yeah, and there was a big patch, and I don't care.
Interestingly, none of the games included in the collection were developed by Bethesda, as Fallout 3 was the first game in the series. And this is got the original games in it, which includes Fallout, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics are in the original. Those are all the Fallout games that I really liked.
Yeah, I couldn't get into them. Teacup was like, oh, you got to play the old Fallout, and I tried playing it, and I'm like, ugh, this looks ugly. And I had no nostalgia for it. It's like going back to playing an N64 game. Just don't do it.
Yeah, it can be a little.
It's different when you don't have nostalgia. If you didn't play it at the time, to go back to a game that doesn't look very good, it is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Nintendo news: Bowsette won't become official according to Nintendo, which has broken a million Bowsette fanboys' hearts. Anyway, the story of that behind that is new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe has a mushroom or power-ups. It's the crown power-up that turns Toadette into what?
Bowsette?
And she turns into like a princess toad or something. I can't remember what the fuck she turns into. So the internet went crazy and was like, oh, well, what if Bowser got the crown? Would turn into Bowsette, like a sexy Princess Bowser? And they're like, no. Yeah, so Toadette turns into super-powered Peachette is what it is. So it's like a little toad princess. And everyone's like, oh, that's so cute. What if Bowser got it? And our perverted dreams could come true. And then there was a whole Boozette thing as well. Not going to say I wasn't too upset at looking at some of the fan art. There were some nice cosplays too. Look up Jessica Negri's Bowsette. Nintendo Switch and 3DS games are now available on the Humble Store. So that's kind of cool. If you're a Humble Bundle monthly owner, apparently that gets you like a discount. You may potentially have a credit on like a credit to buy your first Nintendo game.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's an ongoing discount or if it's just like if you're an account, a monthly member, you get a discount. Anyway,
Is now selling Nintendo games, expansions, season passes, and Nintendo Switch online subscriptions through its web store.
so another place to maybe potentially get some Nintendo games digitally on sale, which is kind of nice.
Only in the United States.
Guess what? Those codes work in Canada.
Humble account holders are receiving a $5 discount on Nintendo games, $20 and up via email.
I wonder if this is IP. Maybe I can't get at them.
I don't know.
No, I don't see them.
Like I said, it's only available to our friends.
So they're identifying where I'm coming from. These mother effers.
They always
Damn
are.
it.
It is the internet.
Oh, well. Okay, for all our American friends. There you go. Another option to buy your digital Switch games. PlayStation news. Dreams Beta is about to go public to all on PS4. I think this might be old now because this came out, I think, after we recorded. There's a link in the notes. You can in the show notes where you can find the sign up link. Well, did I have a date here? I don't know if you're in
Signups. So signups go underway.
Let me see if they're still live. I think they're still. No, they're not live anymore. Never mind. Anyway, there's going to be a Dreams public beta, but now it's shut down because this came out after our last show and clearly died before this episode. So don't worry about it, y'all. You won't be playing the Dreams beta unless you were paying attention. I did manage to sign up.
Yeah. It will open to a wider audience beginning January 8th.
Yeah, I think there's going to... Sign-ups?
Yeah, so signups are underway now, and that was on January 4th. You'll need to supply your PSN ID, name, and an email address and agree to a private beta agreement. Then it said that back in December, Media Molecule said the plan is to open the Dreams beta up to a wider audience beginning January 8th. So it looks like upcoming, they're going to be doing waves of different stuff. So you may still be able to get in on it down the road.
Anyway, yeah, that's cool. I don't know. People who played Dreams really like it. I didn't get a chance to try it yet. Coming out of CES, this next story, Sony was talking numbers because I guess that's what you do at CES because nothing else to do there. PlayStation 4 sales have exceeded 91.6 million units worldwide. That's huge. Also, on top of that number, they also announced that Marvel's Spider-Man is PlayStation's fastest-selling exclusive of all time and has sold through 9 million?
Yeah, 9 million globally.
Jesus.
And that was as of November 25th. So that doesn't even include
the Boxing Day sales and the Christmas and oh my god.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you think about it, that's their highest selling exclusive, and it's only been out for 3 months, 4 months. That's crazy. Okay, so
4 months.
So 5 months or whatever. But that's still crazy when you think about it. It sold 9 million units. So Marvel's Spider-Man 2 happening in 4 years.
Yeah, Insomniac killing it. That's awesome. That's such a fantastic game. I told y'all, if you haven't played it, play it. You should have bought it on sale. It was $50.
I don't want to talk about it. I added it to my Christmas list, and it didn't end up there. So,
moving along, public service announcements. Nintendo's added a couple more titles to the Switch Online coming next week. Zelda 2 and Blast Master. So continuing their promise of adding games to the Nintendo NES app or whatever the hell they call it.
The Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah, but it's the app. There's an app. The name for the app. What do they call it? I can't remember. That's just a perk of having your membership, Nintendo Switch Online.
Right.
Anyway.
That's the only perk to having your membership.
You can play your games online like Smash and Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart Deluxe. Get out of here, sir.
Only one of those games were free up until this.
Get out of here with your nonsense. It's a requirement of playing games online. Yeah. That brings us to our free-for-all section, Dane.
Yo.
Free-for-all. Marvel's Punisher Season 2 will be out next week. Is that next week? That's next Friday, right? January 18th.
Yeah.
There's some trailers already for the new season. Looks like our man Frank Castle's going to be going up against his old pal. Jigsaw? Or what's his name?
Jigsaw.
Is it Jigsaw? Is that it?
Yep.
Billy Russo. His good old pal from season 1. Anyway.
Also, I do want to point out that when this goes live, Titans is also going to be going live on Netflix. What? Titans, which is the DC hero series coming to Netflix Canada. It launched.
Oh, that was available in the States already, right?
That was it was available on the DC Universe app.
We don't have that.
No, so it got it's launching tomorrow on Netflix in Canada. Cool. So if you have Netflix, you'll be able to watch Titans, which is more or less the Teen Titans TV show, which looks fucking badass.
It's like all gritty, right?
Yeah, it's like dark. It looks dope. I'm super excited about it. Like it's got Robin and yeah. Looks cool. Looks super cool.
Moving along, you may or may not have seen a photo of some new toys that I picked up.
I saw these.
I got a bunch of new Transformers. I don't know why. I'm an idiot. I sold some shit on local. Like I sold an old monitor and had money clearly burning a hole in my pocket.
So you thought you'd buy some more Transformers?
Well, I kind of like some of the.
To sit on a shelf.
I kind of like the molds. They're like a War for Cybertron like series, so they're like Cybertronian forms of all the robots. So they're like not Earth forms of vehicles. They kind of are, kind of aren't. So they're a little more futuristic. But some of the I don't have a lot of these bots in like I have a lot of these bots like Gen 1 versions like that I've gotten through the years, like some of the Japanese Takara reissue collections. Like I have the whole collection of like G1 figures, but they're all reissues out of Japan. It's an awesome series. I love it. And I have the whole series. And that includes like pretty much you name it, the best Gen 1 characters. Pretty much hands down.
Word.
So, but I don't have a lot of like I have a few Masterpiece Transformers, but they're very expensive. They're like they're really big. Some of them are metal or have more metal to them. They're not really like advertised as die-cast. They're more advertised as show accurate, super detailed, less toy, more collectible.
They're the McFarlane version of the Transformers.
No, they're better than the McFarlane version of anything. They're awesome, but they're huge and they're expensive. They range from like $150 to $300 or more. So like I have Megatron and Prime and Starscream and Grimlock and a few others, but that's a very expensive line to collect. Yeah. So I've been getting around some of the not so like characters that I don't really care too much about with some of the newer series. There's been a lot of series over the last few years like Titan's Return and Combiner Wars, which are all heavily G1 influenced. So they have a lot of bots from Generation 1. But they're newer molds. They're bigger. They're a little more modern toy than the original 80s ones. So some of them are quite cool, and they're nice reimaginings of those classic characters. So I've gotten away with filling some of the voids with, I don't have, this guy in a good version of this guy. So I've kind of been picking and choosing guys like that.
Right.
Like I don't have Ultra Magnus, right? So one of the...
dude, I don't know if we can talk
I have Ultra Magnus, the old one, but I don't have like a Masterpiece one. Like I don't have like I don't know, I was looking at it, but
the fuck are you doing with your life, man?
I think a knockoff is like $150. Anyway, this one I got for $60 and it looks quite well. It's got a nice robot form. I don't know how I feel about the alt mode but I usually only ever keep mine in their robot modes.
Right.
I like his robot mode. There's a decent shockwave in this series as well too. The bot mode again is pretty cool. The alt mode, not so much. And then the Prime and the Megatron are very super Gen 1 like bot forms, and they're pretty nice. And then a Hound and a Sideswipe. Anyway, I think it's a cool series. There's more. There's like Starscream and Soundwave and a bunch of other bots coming. Ironhide. So I'm like, I think I started out with 2 and now I'm at 6, and I think I'm in this rabbit hole now.
So, is there going to be like any show or anything to go along with the Transformers Siege stuff? I think there is a show. I think there's like some show somewhere. Oh, is it like an online one?
I think it's like interesting. I don't know. I think it's called Siege of Cybertron Trilogy or something. I don't know. I think there's a show. I could be wrong. I never watched it.
Okay.
It says something on the box about the trilogy, Siege for War for Cybertron Trilogy or Siege for... I don't know. Yeah.
Because that's the... I mean, like, I like the figures a lot, but I love the shows a lot, too.
Yeah, I don't... So anyway, they're kind of cool. And then I just wanted to also say... I don't know. No one at home can see it, but you can see it. This new hoodie that I got.
Oh,
it's an Insert Coin clothing. They're a video game clothing company over in the UK, and they make some pretty high quality, like not blatantly this is a gaming t-shirt, hoodie, clothes. Like their stuff's pretty, not flashy, not blatantly like subtle. I got this for free at from PAX, video game logo. It's usually like characters like clothing or shirts, t-shirts from characters in games and stuff like that. So some pretty cool clothing. Anyway, I bought this hoodie, and it's Cade's 6 hoodie. It's a Destiny hoodie. It's a pretty.
Look at you!
It's a cool freaking hoodie. It is expensive as hell. Like it's not cheap.
Yeah, most of that stuff that is.
I was like, I bought it, and then there's a couple things I wasn't so keen on, like. Pockets are out a tiny bit, and being someone OCD, it really bugs me. And there's a couple other little annoyances, so I like emailed them like, hey, I just want to return it for a refund because I'm not really happy. Because like if it was cheap, I would have been fine with it, but it was expensive. So I'm like, I can't in good conscience keep this because it's too expensive to not be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, had I gone to a store, I would have found one with no flaws, and, it wouldn't be an issue, but it's not something I could go get out of a store. So I emailed them, and they're like, da-da-da. They're like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll give you a full refund. Just keep the hoodie. I'm like, what?
Wow.
They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, oh, so you just gave me $100 hoodie, basically. So I just wanted to say, Insert Coin are pretty freaking awesome at the customer service game, I must say. And that's amazing. I'll definitely have to pick up some other t-shirts or try another hoodie or something. I like the hoodie. I think the hoodie's awesome. But like I said, for the price, I was like, I was going to return it and get another one. Like, send me one that doesn't have these little imperfections. And they're like, no, send me a perfect one. Just here's your money back. So I could order another one, but I don't. I think I'll put up with the flaws and get something else.
Fair enough.
So that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty dope.
Wow.
With that being said, Dane,
that's pretty rad.
I want to say we have a show.
I think you're
Episode 188 is in the gigabits and in your ear holes.
I do want to say before we dive into the very, very end, next week we're going to be doing our Game of the Year stuff for
make it official now.
2018. Exactly. That way you guys can hold us accountable to it.
And we can't forget.
And exactly. So Game of the Year stuff, Rick and I will be talking about our top 5 games of 2018. And
top 5 so plus like 20 honorable mentions because it was that kind of a year. So come back next week. Make sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us, all that fun stuff on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're Geekoholics at all those places, and YouTube, of course. And if you can, feel free to leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Reviews help the show grow, and obviously let us discover some more listeners and get in the magical logarithms of the internet and SEO and all that good old jazz. I think that is it, my friend.
That's it.
We're out.
I gotta go do some more genital jousting stuff.
God. I gotta go play. I gotta play.
Where would people find you on the internet, Rick?
What?
If I was to come bug you on the internet, where might I find you?
I already said my Twitter handle.
Okay.
Did you say yours? Did I say mine?
No, you.
Oh, I didn't. Duh, man.
No,
you can come.
You're just not on. You're tired.
You can
today,
come,
man.
but I've been up since I've been up twice last night, and I've been up since 5 a.m. So it wasn't just 5 a.m. I was up in the middle of the night as well. So sorry. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RickF.
RICF.
RICF. Yes. I guess I should say that. Jesus Christ.
If you want to come help me bug Rick, you can always come help me at Dane Cody. That's at DAYNECODY.
Oh, and one last thing. Join our Discord. It's in the show notes. I said I was going to make a short link, and I still haven't done that. God damn it.
That said, we got a lot of good stuff happening.
That's in the show notes. So. We got good talk. Talking tech, talking headsets, talking games, talking about dicks.
No. Just on this show.
We're out.
Jousting.
God damn it. Peace.